Hey guys, it's Brett here. Today I'm going to be showing you how Joomla positions work. Alright, so the things that we're going to be covering in this video are going to be, what are Joomla positions? So I'm going to explain to you basically what they are, how to use them, where to find your Joomla positions. Now this is going to be in the templates, this is going to be in the modules, this is going to explain to you pretty much where you're going to find them. How to add a new position. Now this is going to get more into the development side of things, but we're going to show you how to add a new position from the template. And also, if you stay till the end of this video, I'm going to show you a really good template which you can use to kind of do it on a user-friendly scale where you don't actually have to code. The next thing is I'm going to show you how to code a position. So pretty much when you add a new position, you've got to add obviously the code in it to pull in certain modules and things to those positions. So I'm going to show you how to do that as well. I'm also going to show you further down the track how we add a module or any content into positions. This is also going to be really handy because this is essentially how you're going to be building your site unless you're using something like a builder. So for anybody doing custom coding on Joomla, this is kind of the way that you're going to want to go. And again, if you make it to the end of the video, I am going to be going over a great template that you can use, which pretty much we use for most of our Joomla development sites because it's just one of the most compatible. They've got the greatest developers behind them. And overall, it's just a really handy customizable theme that anybody can use. All right, so in Joomla, think about positions as essentially designated areas within your template that you can place modules, components, just blocks of content that essentially will build up the markup of your site. As a good example of this, something like your menu, your header, your banners, your content, footers, whatever that is, those will all be specifically designated positions that are determined by your template that you can use to slot content into. If you're familiar with WordPress, it's similar to what a WordPress widget would be. Now, a widget, you kind of build the content around, or you build HTML from that widget, and then you can actually use the back end of WordPress to push a piece of content or pre-built module into that position. So they work very similar, except on WordPress, you generally build it around your HTML and use your sidebar type content. With Joomla, you use an XML script and a little bit of PHP to pull the modules directly in. All right, so now as you can see, we're in the back end of Joomla. We're in actually the article section of it, but I'm going to show you basically where you can find your positions. So if it's your first time in the Joomla dashboard, there's actually a couple places where you're going to be able to find these positions. So if you go across to your system, now we are using Joomla 4 for this, so I hope you guys are familiar. If not, it's very similar to Joomla 3, just we've got more of a sidebar layout here. What you're going to find is something called site templates and site styles. Now within your site templates, you're going to have all of your default templates, anything that's installed will appear here. So in here, this is the default theme that most Joomla 4s come pre-installed. So if you click into here, you're kind of going to get an overview of the template file structure. Now, off the bat, you're not going to be able to see too much in here in regards to the positions. However, pretty much every Joomla template is going to have this one thing down here called template details.xml. Now this is the XML file which is essentially going to control where your positions are. So if you click into here, you're going to see that we've got a bunch of different fields, but down here we have something called positions. Now in this highlighted thing, you're going to see all the positions that are associated to that theme, which is super handy because off the bat, if you take a screenshot of this, you know kind of exactly where they are, generally in the position that they're going to show up on the screen. However, it's not always that simple because you see, you could have position top bar here, but the way that it could be structured is top bar could also be put down here on a regular theme because it's all really dependent on the coding of them. So I will get back into that later on in the video if you stick by. The next thing I'm going to do is show you how to see the positions but in your modules. If you go into here, content, and go to your site modules, you're going to see that you're going to have positions assigned here. So breadcrumbs, sidebar, sidebar. These are positions that will reflect on the front end of your site here. For example, those would be modules in the sidebar position. Now, back here, you're going to have two different types of positions. You're going to have site positions, and then you're going to have administration positions. For most beginners, you're not really going to have to deal with the administration positions unless you're building something on that kind of end of the site. So if you click into any module, for example, the breadcrumbs, on every side of it, you're going to have something, a little positions bar here. Now the positions are going to show every theme that's installed. So we only have, in this case, one theme installed. So you're only going to see the positions for that theme, which these should essentially mirror exactly what we saw in the XML file. All right, so now if we close out of that, we're going to talk about components. Now, components generally are things like, well, essentially your article manager, your menu, everything is its own component, but a lot of sites will install their own versions of components that essentially run a part of their site. This can be things like EasyBlog, K2, or RS Forms, or things like that, which are generally assigned in menu positions. Now, components do not have their own positions. So we do got to keep that in mind, that positions really are only effective on modules. The components will generally only install into the main area of your website. All right, guys, just before I continue, I just want to take this moment. If you guys are struggling to get help with your website, because these videos aren't sponsored or anything like that, if you guys do need help with anything Joomla related, WordPress related, if you need help with hosting, if you're Australia, New Zealand, anywhere around the world and you need a hand, please go visit Revive Digital. This is my website. This is my core business. This is essentially how I make money doing what I do. And the more money I can make means the more videos I can make for you guys, which always helps. So if you guys need help with websites, no matter what it is, don't hesitate to come to Revive Digital. We're here to help. We're here to help you upgrade. So whether you're a developer, whether you're a business owner, I've got your back. So please do come along and let's see what I can do for you. All right, so back to the video. So the next thing that I want to talk about is how to add a new position to Joomla. Now, this one should be really straightforward since I've already kind of gone over the file structure and where the positions are. If we go back here, where again, we're still in the module section, but what we're going to do is go to our system, go to our site templates, and go to our, again, main template, and we're going to click on our XML details. So off the bat, we have our main position. So for example, if we want to add a new position here, we can just go position, and we're going to call this, let's just call it WBWT, Web Tech with Brett, to make it a bit easier, and we're going to be able to identify that wherever we are. So we are now going to save and close that, and you'd think it's done, right? You'd think that that's all we have to do. Well, unfortunately, it's kind of not. So the thing is, because we've had to add that position, again, we're back to the modules here, it's now going to appear under our active positions here. So we can put things into it, right? So we've got the breadcrumbs here. Looking on the home page, you can see the breadcrumbs module is there. And as soon as I assign this to WebTech by Brett, or the WBWT thing, and save that, you can see it's updated here, but all of a sudden this should disappear. Now, why has it disappeared? The reason is because we have not coded it in. All we've done is given Joomla the option to have that position, which doesn't necessarily help us in the long term with developing them. So, in order to do this, what we're going to want to do is go back to our systems, site templates, go into your site template. Now again, if you have FTP, you can do this directly through your file manager. You don't have to do it this way. However, this is for just anyone generally working who doesn't have that. If you have this on localhost like I do, or if you have this on a web server, or if you're dealing with a client and you really need to put a position in, this is where you can kind of do it. Your index.php file is essentially the file that will run everything in your template. It's going to show you basically where your positions are. It's going to add all your add header links, everything. These are going to be things that generally include scripts, metadata, everything like that. So as you scroll down, you're going to see the basic makeup of your website, which is your HTML, your header, and your opening body. Now, if in your body, here is the structure of basically your site. You're going to have your header, you're going to have div elements with your containers. So here we've got container top bar. So you're going to see these interesting bits of code here. And now Joomla's got a function called count modules. So when it asks the database for a certain module, it's going to check one of two things. First, it's going to actually check whether you have a module in that position. The next thing that it's going to check is whether that module is assigned to that page. So if you basically want to add your new position, or let's say our new position in, we're just going to pretty much copy this, go down here and click paste. Now what we can do here is rename top bar. You don't need to rename this one because it's just a div class, but you can, and we're just going to put WTWB, and we will again put that there, and just for, to keep it all the same, we will put it there. They've got this piece of code here, which is called jdocInclude. Now, jdocInclude is basically a Joomla type code that essentially will load modules. Now, this kind of works in a for each type situation or a while situation. So similar to how, I guess, WordPress widget positions work, you can keep adding widgets to those positions. Same goes for Joomla, and it all depends on the order that you have it in the back end. But with this in mind, you can click save and close. Once that's all set, so you've got it in your index file in your thing, in your template, you've got it set on your position. When we refresh this is now going to come up there in the top bar. You can then apply your own styling to this and pretty much do it or make it however you want. Now, just a reminder, the way that I'm doing this isn't technically correct because you shouldn't realistically be overriding the current theme. You should always do this as an override. So back in the back end here, and we go to site templates, go back into your default template, you always have things here called create overrides. Now, this may not give you the option to create an override of the exact file. So in that case, what you want to do here is go create a child theme of that template. So if we create a child theme, this is where you can go. We're going to call it Web Tech with Brett, and we will keep the same style as everything and create a template. So what this should do is in your actual templates here, under templates, we're going to see a new child theme that's been developed. So again, this is going to instantly pull across the default positions. And if you want to create a change to the index, all you have to do is copy that back into here and paste that there. So that's going to do exactly the same as what we just did, except now when there's updates, things are not going to be overriding. So if you add a position into the current theme, then you update that theme, you will essentially lose what you've just done. So always create a child theme if you can. Same goes with WordPress. That's what child themes are for. They override the main theme, but they allow you to continue doing what you're doing. The next thing that I want to show you is that you don't always have to create a position like that, which is weird because I've just told you this is how you create a position, right? But what if I told you that you can actually just create random positions with whatever you want and then use those positions somewhere else? Well, I'm going to show you how. So Joomla is quite great at just creating several different types of positions, modules, and combining them all around. You can essentially put content anywhere. You can put positions within a position within a module, if that makes sense. It may be a bit hard to follow, but I'm going to explain this to you. So again, we're back here in the dashboard. Now, we're going to go to content and go site modules. So we've got the menu there. So what we're going to do with this menu is we're going to go put it into a random position. So what we can do here is if we click into menu, I'm going to right here and go custom, let's go custom pos, right? We'll just take a copy of that. So that doesn't exist in any template, but we're going to save that. So now you can see here that custom pos is there and it's being used as a position for that module. So from the home page, our main menu is now gone. So what you can do here, this is a bit of a trick. You can now go create a new module. For this one, we're going to go for a custom module. Now off the bat, we're just going to put something in here that we can uniquely identify the thing for. So we're going to go WTWB custom module, and we're just going to go content here. So we got the custom module there put in the main top. Again, I don't know where these positions are going to show up, so I'm kind of only testing them at the moment. Unless you're really looking through the file, you're not always going to know. So we're going to use what basically Joomla has built in is called a load position. You know, I don't know what it is. It kind of works the same as what a shortcode would on WordPress, but you can click here and go load position, and then we're going to put in our custom position. So if we save that, essentially what that's going to do, we go back to the home page, should realistically have loaded that, but I think we've done something wrong. So generally under options, we have something here called prepare content. So prepare content is actually going to scale the code looking for that tag. Now, if we save that, then technically we've now included the main menu. So what we have in this situation is we have a custom component here within a position, and then we have another component which loads on that position. You can do this indefinitely to put things in different places. It is a super powerful, super handy technique to use, and it's kind of more advanced than most people would, but it can be quite user friendly as well. Another thing you can actually do in Joomla is you can load, rather than a position, you can load a direct module. So you can go load module ID, and then you can find the ID. So in this case, we're going to use breadcrumbs, and we're going to choose number 17. Now in here, I can say I want to load module ID number 17. As long as we've got the prepare content on, we should be fine. Save that, and then we're going to have the breadcrumbs. So even though we have the breadcrumbs up here, we've now also loaded that specific module, which pretty much doesn't even require a position anymore, into here. So this custom module that we have is now loading 2 extra modules within inside itself. So that is kind of crazy, but it is so useful. If you want forms within forms and want to do all this crazy custom development stuff, Joomla is amazing at that, and it can be very useful for developers. It can be useful for everyone. I highly recommend doing it and giving it a try. Okay, so generally speaking, that's probably the extent of what you guys are going to want to do. But I am going to show you basically one more way. What I'm going to do is show you guys how to add that specifically in a custom module override. So the only way you would really use this is if you specifically needed something put in a certain way with a part of code, either like a database call or something. You can pretty much add your own PHP to any position of any single part of Joomla, and this is how you do it. All right, so the first thing we're going to do in this situation is we're going to look in the templates here, and we've got the HTML override folder. So what we're going to want to add in here is a new folder, and we're going to want to call this mod_custom.php. You want a folder called mod_custom. It's going to give you the ability to essentially create overrides that you can use then in your custom modules. So in order to do this, we're going to create a new file. Nothing too fancy, just essentially we're going to say, hey, hello. Now, if we then go back to our site again, and we click new, we're already in the search, so we're going to go custom module, advanced. We're going to change the layout to testing, because now that we have a child theme and we have a custom override on that, we're allowed to select it in here. Make sure, again, prepare content. Actually, no, in this case, we probably won't need it, so we'll turn that off. And we will go custom testing, and we're going to put this again in, we'll go for the main bottom position. So here you're going to see something there. Custom testing has appeared in the main bottom. So obviously you can see like menu, main top, main, and then main bottom. These are the position layouts for that. All right, so we're back in the code here, and essentially what we're going to be doing is adding this using basically just the Joomla built-in functions for PHP. Now, what we can do is if we open our PHP tags here and we go module equals J module helper. I don't know why I can't spell module today. Get module. We'll run a for each modules as key value, right? Yep. Echo. Actually, what we'll do is J module helper render module and change it to value. Right. So pretty straightforward. As you can see, we've got a J module helper here. I hope I spelled that right. So far it doesn't look like there's any errors, but you never know until you actually run the code. Now we need to get a module position. So this is where we type our position name. So we're going to go and type. So that's the position that we've assigned. So if you come back now to the front end here and we refresh this, we essentially have an error, and that is because I have actually fucked up the code, and yeah, that is actually quite an easy fix, and I can see the issue, is right here because we just need to change it to an as once again back here. And as you can see, we have now loaded that, which loads the breadcrumbs, which is this position up the top. All right, so again, just looking over what we've gone over what positions are, where to find them, how to add a new position, coding positions, adding modules in the code as well, and the last thing is a template with built-in positions. Now this one is pretty much going to make the whole thing way easier for anybody, and I'll show you how to do that. Now for this example, we're going to be using Gantry. This is the last thing that I'm going to show you, but this is kind of a cool theme that's going to simplify the whole process for you. So again, you guys are going to want to use this. I use this if I'm developing in Joomla, and it's always been really handy for me. All right, so as you can see here, we're on the Gantry website. What you're going to want to do is download, make sure you're in Joomla, which does have 4 as well. You're going to download the Gantry 5 component and the Helium theme. Or you can go for the Hydrogen theme. They're pretty much similar, just one is slightly higher or heavier weight than the other. So as you can see here, the Hydrogen is a light one. There's only 600 whatever kilobytes. This one's got 4.26 meg. So obviously you're going to get better or more with one than the other. And what we're going to want to do is go system. You're going to want to install an extension, and we're going to browse that, and we will go to downloads because I've already done this previously. And we're going to want the package Gantry and the Helium template. So we can only install these one at a time by the looks of it, unless you drag multiple in there. So now if you go under system, site template, you're going to see Gantry in there. But what we're actually going to want to do is go back to system and go to the site template styles. Now this is where you actually choose your default template. So in this case, we're going to choose the Helium default. Now this should actually change the whole look and feel of the website. Yep, bam, we've got a new website with a new template. Now what you can do in here is if you go inside, they're going to have a visualization of positions here. So this is great, but what they've also got is something called module positions. So within header, I can create a position here, and I can actually just call it my position, preferably without spaces because this is a key that you're going to be using. Apply and save layout. And if we go here back to content, site modules, we'll just go into this because I added it anyway. You're going to see the position stored under, not that template, but here, the Gantry 5 one should be my position. So again, this does pretty much all the coding, everything for you, and it just puts it in there. And again, if you're using the Gantry 5 particle, you can then pick a particle which means you can automatically insert custom HTML, everything into those positions as well. Super easy, super handy. Yeah, it just works. All right, so that's all for this video. Now, if you guys do need help, do go to Revive Digital, or what you're going to want to do is if you want to learn more about Joomla is probably click on one of these two videos here, because these two videos are going to explain to you essentially how to add, edit content, or just a bit more about, Joomla. So these are the recommended videos that you guys go see. You won't regret it. Subscribe to the channel because we do publish more than just Joomla content. It is always hard to make time to do the content, but it's going to be worth it. So go see them, hit that subscribe, like the video if this has been helpful for you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.